Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show. My name is Steve Buors, and I'm CEO of Reshift Media. I'll be your host for today's discussion. September is Franchisee Appreciation Month, where the Canadian Franchise Association recognizes the contributions of franchisees and their vital role in the Canadian economy. Franchising is Canada's 12th largest industry and is projected to contribute $133 billion, that's billion with a B, to the country's GDP by 2026. We also employ nearly 2 million Canadians. As part of Franchisee Appreciation Month, we're highlighting the stories of Canadian franchise organizations and the franchisees that make them successful. Today, I'm really happy to be joined by several people from Fire Alert. Fire Alert has been a trusted name in the fire safety for over 35 years, serving commercial, industrial, government, and residential clients across Canada. The company specializes in on-site mobile fire safety inspections, equipment supply, and ongoing maintenance, ensuring compliance with municipal, provincial, and Canadian standards. Fire Alert is known for exceptional service, industry affiliations, and a strong commitment to environmental responsibility. Today, I'm really happy to be joined by several members of the Fire Alert team. We have Sylvain Houle, who's co-owner of Fire Alert, Vanessa Houle, also co-owner of Fire Alert, Charles Boyer, Director of Client and Franchise Relations at Fire Alert, and Chris Gibson, who's the business owner of Fire Alert London. Welcome, everyone, to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Really excited to be here, talk a bit about Franchisee Appreciation Month. So with that, I'm going to start with Sylvain, Vanessa, and Charles from the head office perspective. And again, jump in, whoever wants to talk, the more the merrier. Let's talk about, first of all, Franchisee Appreciation Month. And why is it important to you and important to Fire Alert?
Well, Steve, first of all, thanks for having us on the show. We're very thankful to be able to talk about our brand a little bit and really highlight Chris as one of our model franchisees. So thanks to you, and Chris, thanks for making yourself available for this meeting as well. It's very exciting for us. Well. So I mean, it's an opportunity for us to be able to pause and really highlight some of our franchisees and have a moment of appreciation for, what they do on a day-to-day basis. The franchisees in our organization are really the core of our business model, being that we're a franchised organization. So they contribute a ton to our success. And to be able to just, like I said, take a moment and say thank you to those guys on our team is special to us. So thanks again, Chris.
Well, and thanks for being here to share your story. So the fact that we have franchisor and franchisee on the line to be able to talk about, franchisee appreciation, it's fantastic. So let's talk a bit about what Fire Alert does to support your franchisees. Anything specific you'd like to highlight? Again, anyone from the head office team.
Yeah, guys, feel free to jump in whenever you feel fits. But we try to build strong support in everything we do. So everything from the administrative side to the technical side with our franchisees. One thing that we pride ourselves on is being in a government regulated industry. These types of services are mandatory across the board. And that allows us as the head office to go out and acquire clients that have chain stores across Canada. So we don't necessarily sell, but we affiliate ourselves with corporations and establish programs throughout the nation that we're able to dispatch to our franchisees. So Petro-Canada, Sleep Country, Shell Canada, Starbucks are all clients that fall into our national account portfolio. And all clients that we're able to share with our franchisees to help support on that front, and try to get the cash flow going right from day one. So that's a few of the supporting steps that we take here. Charles, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. I think it's really important for us as well to have relationships with our franchisees. In my role, I get the opportunity to speak with our franchisees, and we have regular meetings where we discuss how it's going, where you're at. And what's interesting is that our franchisees are at different stages of where they are, and some of them need different supports. We talk about when you're starting up a franchise, it's really important to, get those clients and help them grow their business and understand the landscape and make the connections. In the mid-tier, looking at sustaining their business, they've grown it to a successful place, and how can they, sustain where they're at. And later in the franchise cycle is helping our franchisees look for a potential buyer for their franchisees. So it's a life cycle that we do, and we look at with our franchisees, and I echo with Sylvain and Vanessa, with Chris. I think of Chris in the 7 years of continued success. Chris, he may not speak so much about himself, but he himself is a volunteer firefighter, and he participates in the fire fit competitions. I can tell you, here in Ottawa, we got the chance to meet Chris on site. And Chris, he finished third in the competition here. I was there, front row seats. The last pull, when you're pulling a 180-pound body, like across, dragging on the ground, and it's a minute and 30 seconds of just pure intensity. And it's great to see Chris in action, and I think that just speaks to who Chris is. He deeply cares about this profession. He deeply cares about high quality service. I was actually on with one of Chris's clients, if you believe it or not, and just talking about how great the service is. And that's what sets ourselves up with our owner operator model. If you own and operate the company, the quality of service that he has, and Chris has really taken his franchise to the next level, and he does a lot to build and grow the franchise, and so it's kudos to Chris and respectfully to our franchisees for the work they do. So we're thrilled, Steve, with the opportunity to be part of Franchise Month, and to honor our franchisees, and it's a great way to do it. And you need those monthly cycles. You often forget it, in the process, but we're very thankful if without the success that we're it's really a team effort across the board. So we really appreciate them. Thank you.
Well, it's like the old adage, right? In business, for yourself, but not by yourself. And I think all of you have articulated just the power of franchising. You're in a highly regulated industry, something that someone on their own probably couldn't easily get into, but because you have the processes and the relationships and obviously the ability to work with, within a highly regulated industry, someone with skills like Chris can come in and be successful as a franchisee. Now, Charles already started this on my next question, but I'm curious.
I was just going to add to that, from the franchisee perspective. It's easy to get started because they have all the national accounts established. So you can start making money from day one, and then you just keep building off of that, right? And the vans are fully wrapped. So you've got a big billboard going down the road. Customers see that, they recognize it. Their uniforms are all labeled and have a professional look. So when we show up at a customer's place, they're seeing that quality, they're expecting that high level of service, and that really sets us apart from our competitors, right?
Well, it makes a big difference, right? When it's not just, some dude in the truck. When you show up and I can see your branded shirts here. You guys look good. Yep. It makes a big difference, right? You feel that confidence and that national brand, and you're just bringing that level of expertise. So I thought I'd pass it actually to Sylvain and Vanessa for a second. So Charles has already talked about why Chris is a bit of a superstar. Curious if you have any thoughts, like, we've brought Chris on here. We will be hearing from Chris in just a minute. But what is it you think that makes him an example of an excellent franchisee?
Oh boy.
Where do we begin?
Yeah. Charles, you did a good job at kickstarting this question. But Chris is, if you can mold, or create a very specific profile of what the perfect franchisee would be, I think Chris would be one that we'd want to clone. The guy's a volunteer firefighter. Like Charles mentioned, he's very much involved in these firefighting strength and fitness competitions. The guy breathes, lives and eats fire protection. So for us, it's really, a guy who's very invested not only in his business, but in the industry and cares about the industry. So it makes it easier for us to have discussions with him because, everything that's fire related, he can relate to and he gets. Now, moreover, Chris also is a model franchisee just by, the relationship that we have with him and his willingness to, I know it sounds cliche, but to follow the system. He upholds a high level of dedication to the company and to growth. And on that point, talking about growing, we've had, so Chris has done a great job at growing his own territory in the London and surrounding areas. But there's also been, multiple discussions on how we expand even beyond that. And so we've had conversations about the Tri-Cities, which is currently a vacant territory. Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and how we can tie that into Chris's protected area. So, the wheels are always turning. We have great conversations with him all the time, and especially with Charles being on board now and initiating, those or facilitating those conversations. We get to hear, the day-to-day challenges, and it's not always pretty. There's some things when you're an owner-operator, you have so many hats to wear. You're out in the field and you're doing the inspections and you're doing the work. But then there's also the back end of that where as an owner operator, well, you're doing some of the administrative stuff as well. And so it's nice to have those open conversations with our franchisees, and Chris is great at it in sharing, what his struggles are when they come about, or the best practices. He tells us what works well for him, and we can share that with our other franchisees. So all in all, Chris, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because we do really appreciate you as a franchisee. And even above that, you're a great person. You're a team player. You're involved in the community. And tip of the cap to you, pal.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay, Chris. That's a lot to live up to. And once the human cloning apparently is in process, you're first on the list from what I can hear.
I guess so.
Well, let's talk to you, Chris. So as the owner of London and apparently some additional territories coming up, let's start with you and what you find most gratifying about running your own business. What do you like best about being your own boss?
I guess the best thing is really just every day is different, right? So as much as your inspections are similar, every property is different, every customer is different. So no 2 days are the same. So you've got that kind of variety to break it up, as well as you get to talk and interact with a lot of people. So you hear a lot of stories, a lot of different stuff like that. And it just keeps things interesting, right? So.
Well, we all like to, stay busy, and I agree with you. If every day was exactly the same, forget about it.
That's for sure.
Well, so let's talk about franchising then. So obviously you're a very skilled individual. Lots of good things being said about you here. What has franchising brought into your life or allowed you to do that you don't think you could have done otherwise?
For me, because I have a lot of other stuff, I'm volunteer fire. I like to work out. I like to travel, all that stuff. So it allows me to kind of balance that in a way where, I can work really hard and efficiently and get work done. And then I can take time off to do other things that I want to do in life. Right. And just kind of have that balance of everything together. kind of gives me that. So,
Well, I guess, right? Because you walk into a system, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're not having to figure it all out, right? You got a system you can employ that clearly works and that fits your lifestyle and your needs and your skills, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about fire alert. So, you're clearly a high performing member of the fire alert family. What's your favorite thing about being a franchisee within fire alert?
So part of it is just like the brand, right? So you're part of a team, you're part of a recognized brand. You've just got that professional, look and attitude going forward. And just allows you to go help a lot of customers, right? So when we go into a place, we do the inspection, we do all the service work on site. So when we leave that property, everything's compliant to code, safe, so we're leaving everything safer than when we got there, right? And it's just satisfying from that point of view, and we help a lot of customers.
Oh, that's great. And you've kind of touched on, and throughout the conversation, we've touched on how fire alert, is helping you as a franchisee. But I guess, is there anything you'd want to add to the conversation in terms of, how the franchisor, in this case, fire alert, is helping you grow your business?
Really, so I mean, they're always working on getting new national accounts, right? So that always helps. You get a list of customers to go service. You don't have to do the legwork of trying to do the sales aspect of getting customers. Easy billing from that point of view. Helps with route saturation, so you have a lot of customers in one area. Limit your travel time, makes you more efficient. So they're always building that out, which is good. And then we kind of talked about it before too, but obviously different franchises are going to have similar issues come up and whatever. And as a team, we can kind of work together, solve those issues, and then pass that on to other people, or same thing, come back the other way to solve those issues and move forward, right?
Well, and that's, again, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's the power of franchising is, you got a franchisor, they're talking to multiple franchisees, you're seeing what works, what doesn't work, there's a sharing of best practices, sharing of what doesn't work, which we don't talk about nearly enough, right? Like sometimes stuff doesn't work.
Sure. Yeah.
Would anyone from the fire alert team like to talk about this topic at all in terms of how that works in terms of that sharing of best practices, and particularly in a highly regulated industry like yours? I have to think this is a big deal.
Yeah. Charles, do you want to take the lead on this one, or do you want me to?
Yeah. Well, it's like you said it so well, Chris. It's like we're doing something similar in different environments, but what could we learn what we're doing here that we could share and help somebody else about what they're doing? So, and it's the benefit of, in my role, of connecting one-on-one with all of our franchisees on a regular basis. Because then I'm hearing, oh, did you know that they're doing this and they've had some success in creating this? And it's creating this environment where we can, take knowledge from, we just launched in a franchise in Vancouver, and so what can we help in the early stages as you grow out and build those connections that, someone like Chris has learned it in London, or Blaine has learned in Red Deer, Sean has learned in Eastern Ontario, and we can build those learnings as we go, all throughout the lifestyle, the life cycle, even to the point where, hey, we may know a potential buyer in an area of this. If you're at that stage in the life cycle of looking for this, there's always connections that we can make. And the more we make these connections, the stronger we are together. So I think that's a great point, is that best practice and network for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, every territory is different in our line of work, right? You can have a franchise in downtown Toronto, and it's a very different target market than your franchise in Timmins, Ontario. So it's nice to be able to share, those marketing strategies with other franchisees, or what works and what doesn't work, and put all those ideas together and then roll them out. So
love that.
Yeah,
well,
lots of communication.
Well, you've all articulated the power of franchising very well here on Franchisee Appreciation Month. Question for Chris. So we've talked a lot about, how franchising has enabled you to run your business and be successful. But for you personally, what do you think your biggest achievement is as a Fire Alert franchisee? What are you most proud of?
Really me, for just going back to that point of just the amount of customers we've actually helped, right? You average 8 to 10 customers a day. You multiply that through the years.
8 to 10 a day. Wow.
And just the actual volume of you're leaving every place safer, knowing everybody's up to code. For me, that's just a big satisfaction.
That's great. Well, I stopped you doing your math there. So you got 8 to 10 a day over how long were you saying?
Well, obviously you'd say 50, 5 days a week, and then about 50 weeks a year, right? So it does add up to quite a few for sure.
It's fantastic. See, I'm making you do math live there, right? That was kind of cruel of me there, but no, that's impressive. I had no idea you guys did that kind of volume.
Well, I mean, and it depends on the type of client that it is. If it's a small retail store, then you tend to be in and out. And with the national accounts, that's where a lot of these come into play. So we go into a shopping center and we have, American Eagle or the Gap or Sephora or David's Tea,
T-Booth and Wireless Wave.
So you can crush a lot of those stores in one facility, within a day. And then we also do larger warehouses or government buildings, and that tends to take a little while longer. But there's a nice variety for sure. And like Chris said,
that's where the route saturation and try to minimize your travel. That's where it makes your day a lot more efficient.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and we talked about environmentally friendly, right? There you go. You're lowering your carbon footprint.
Absolutely. And part of that too, we do all the service on site. So we're one trip where most of our competitors are two, right? So it saves time, saves money, it's better for the environment.
I love it.
100%. Yeah. Every little bit counts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. This has been just a great conversation. I think really fitting with Franchisee Appreciation Month. For those of you watching, we really hope you enjoyed the conversation. Encourage you to visit cfa.ca and help us celebrate Franchisee Appreciation Month as well. So have a great day, everyone, and thank you for watching.